Hey everyone, and welcome to my live today. I'm really excited to be here with you all and to be even more excited to welcome my special guest, Paula. While we're just waiting for Paula to come and join, I just want to give you a little bit more background about her and the incredible journey that she has been on. So, Paula is not only an experienced coach herself with over 20 years in the field, but she's also somebody who truly knows the power of self-reflection. Also about personal growth, transformation. So like many of us, she found herself really stuck at a crossroads in her life, facing burnout, health challenges, and feeling really stuck in a stressful work environment. So despite her experience as a coach, she really recognised the importance of seeking support and guidance during this time. So I had the honour and the privilege of working with Paula as her coach. And what's been so inspiring to me is her openness to the process and her deep commitment to making meaningful changes. So throughout our whole sessions, we've explored some really powerful questions, worked through reframing some stories, and most importantly, focused on what it means to truly look after yourself. A question that has been the foundation of so many life-changing decisions that she's made recently. So Paula's journey is a beautiful reminder that no matter how much experience we have, we all need support at different times of our lives. It's also a reminder that change is possible, even when we feel overwhelmed or stuck. I can't wait for you to all hear from her firsthand about her experiences, the transformations she's made, and the lessons that she's learnt along the way. Now, I'm just going to try and let Paula in, but Paula is, let me just see, there we go, let me just let her in. There is someone facing a cancer diagnosis, but Paula was certainly facing health issues that were caused by the level of stress in her life, which I'm sure she will share more about. And please feel free to comment and ask any questions. We'd love to hear from you during this live. I'm just trying to make sure that I've got her in. And thank you for all that have joined us so far. Let me just make sure that she is managing to come in. Let me know if you're here, Paula. See that she's joined. Go live with Paula. Don't tell me we're going to have some technical issues just getting Paula on board. Let me just have a look. Oh, here we go. Let's try again. Oh, might not be saying that she's not able to join. It's a good start. Always some technical issues. Let's see what we can do. Yes, I know. I can see your message, Paula. Yes, I requested to come in. Ah, are you there? I can hear you. Can I see you?
I can see you.
Can you see me? I'm not sure whether we're going to see you or whether we're just going to hear you or not, but I don't know what our viewers can see or hear. Just bear with us because this is the first time I've done a live like this, and especially interviewing somebody. So maybe we might just have to chat, Paula, and but I'm glad that you're here.
I'm here, so I can switch the video on and off, Sarah, but it just switches me on and off. I don't know if anyone else can see us, but yeah,
I
I'm here.
can't see you, but if you can put your video on, if that's, if you can, that might help. But yeah, if not, we'll just chat. And thank you, Louis. Louis said that he can see both of us, so that's brilliant. Thank you for confirming that. Always newbie sort of things.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining me, Paula, and I'm glad that they can see you because I hear you put your lipstick on, especially for the experience.
Thank you. Thanks for the lovely introduction, Sarah. I was listening.
So anyway, I want you to start really just by a little bit about, just share a little bit, Paula, can you, about where you were in your life before we started working together, the sort of the types of challenges that you were facing.
Yeah, so I was at the top of my career. So I have worked for over 35 years in HR teams, and the job of my dreams came up, so people and culture director, and I was 3 years into this role last year when we started working together. I'd just been on holiday, a dream holiday to the Galapagos Islands, and I'd been working in the organisation for 11 years and really enjoying my job. And I think in year 3 of the job, things started to get really stressful, and my health started to suffer a lot. And I went to Galapagos, and I just wasn't well in Galapagos. It was nothing really serious. It was just an underlying chest infection, a difficulty to breathe properly. Things like, normal activities like cycling and snorkeling and walking were, felt difficult. My head was very blocked up. And when I got back, I guess I had quite a few flights, and they didn't help my health, to Galapagos and back. And when I got back, I had a number of chest infections, antibiotics, steroid sprays, and nothing would shift this inflammation in my head, which was presenting as a middle ear infection and a sinus infection. And I just wasn't well and not thriving. And it started to feel a little bit like burnout. Quite a lot of stress, very tired, and that's I was going to the doctors, I was seeing a homeopath, I was seeing a cranial osteopath, and actually one of them said to me, these symptoms won't go until you do something different with your life, and potentially until you change your job. And then Sarah, you and I met. And I was very fortunate to get a place on your coaching, which you offered me, and and we can talk about what happened then, because actually that was the beginning of the change.
And it really was. And I remember the meeting when we met up, and, I could really see within you. And actually what you'd done was actually sort of recommended one of your friends over to me, hadn't you, for sort of, for some cancer coaching. And we sat there talking about your health. And I remember just thinking, I think really we need to be, not looking at referring here. We need to be really looking at what's going on for you and whether that would be a benefit for you. And so how did you feel at that point when I actually offered that out to you about the idea of being coached by somebody else? Because obviously you're a coach yourself.
So I am a coach myself, but I've always had coaching from other coaches. So it felt very natural to do it. But I think what felt different, Sarah, was that most of my coaching has been done in the corporate world. So I've experienced my own coaching as a coach in the corporate world. I've done some personal clients, but most of it has been around business. And most of the people that coached me have come from a corporate setting. So what was really significant to me was, I was really excited about being coached by you, because it felt like something different. It felt like something was going to be different, but I wasn't sure what it would be. And I think it really helped that you weren't from that background. And it also really helped that when you are coached in business, it's often around a problem that you have in business, or creating kind of a solution to something, increasing confidence to do a task, or to do a presentation or something like that. This felt very personal, and it felt very holistic to me. I've had holistic coaches before, but this felt very specifically focused on getting to the heart of something that was was presenting as symptoms, in ill symptoms, unwell symptoms. So I'm not saying I was really unwell, but it felt to me when you offered it out that actually I needed a wake-up call here, because if I didn't tend to my health, it could escalate, and I was really worried about that escalation. I mean, people who get to get to do jobs they really love, often trade off a lot for those jobs, including working long hours, and working very hard and not really taking care of themselves. And that's where I was.
So what was the most surprising or unexpected part of our coaching sessions for you, Paula?
I think the most surprising was your ability to really cut through some of the stories that I was telling, and really kind of tune into the energy that I was giving out, which wasn't particularly healthy energy. It was very stressed energy, and very I think the things you would say to me, which were a surprise, were kind of, Paula, you need balance. You need to bring your kind of energy down, equilibrium. And that was a surprise to me. I hadn't been coached like that before. And it really made me pay attention to the stories and the energy they give you, and the negative energy that they give you, and the stress that then creates. So things like, you would point out things like my voice, the speed, the stories that I was telling about, you weren't, I felt like you weren't really, the surprise was you weren't really engaging with those stories. That wasn't what we were doing. The content wasn't, it was irrelevant. It was the feeling that was, and what it was doing to me, which was really important. And I'd forgotten about that. I'd really forgotten about that. Forgotten about listening to myself, and I'd forgotten about that mind-body connection.
You were very much in your head, weren't you? If I remember, in terms of not really managing to sort of work out that whole mind-body connection, which is why there was so much sort of illness sort of coming out as well.
And I think, when you do, when you do work in business and you do work in the corporate world, you are encouraged to be in your head, and that's not always healthy. So there has to be a balance. It's good to be in your head for certain jobs and certain tasks, but there's also a balance of also, kind of really being in your body. And I think the surprise was how you got me back to, really listening to my body. And I've been listening kind of on a very transactional kind of plane, I guess. People have been telling me that I wasn't well, and they've been telling me I was working too hard, and I was just saying yes. And actually, you asked that question, what do you need to do, Paula, to take care of yourself? And it kind of stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah. So I'm just going to come on to, actually, because you mentioned that one key question just there, helped really unlock a lot for you. I know that was really important, that question being, what do I need to do to look after myself? So how did that question change your perspective on, sort of thought, and decisions and things? How did that, change your whole outlook?
I think that question is a very simple question, but you didn't let it be simple. So you kind of, you really kind of got underneath that question. So if someone had said, do you look after yourself? I would have said, yes, I do. Yeah, I do. I go to the gym. I lift weights. I look after my own weight. I've got a homeopath. I go to the osteopath. I go to the chiropractor. Yes, of course, I'm looking after myself, but actually, I was only really looking after the surface of myself. I wasn't actually looking after the core of myself. And I think when you asked that question, it stopped me in my tracks to think about, actually, you can do all of these things, which are great and are helpful, but they're not kind of, that they're not looking after the emotional side, and they're not looking after the core of you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of I could discuss this subject for ages, because there's a lot of stuff around faux self-care as well, sort of stuff that actually you think you should be doing and that you're not. And you really need to look at, obviously, much more bigger piece of what your values are and what really aligns with you and what your self-care is and what do you need to look after yourself, because that's going to vary so much from somebody else. So it's actually, as you say, a much deeper question than what initially it sounds.
And you need to think about it really deeply, and that's what you helped me do. And I think because of your journey, because I'd followed your journey, I really trusted that, with your journey through your cancer, I really trusted and trust all of the work you've put into that, kind of, and how that's formed your coaching. And so I knew that that you really knew what you were talking about, that you'd experienced it, that it was very authentic, but also that it worked for you. And so it felt like I was in really safe hands. Thank you.
I'm really pleased that you did feel safe with me as well, because that's really important in a coaching relationship as well. So, on that. So can you share your experience with some of the techniques that we use, like breath work, visualizations, affirmations? What resonated with you the most and why?
So I think you were really tenacious with the breath work, because I know that I need to do breath work, and you kind of in a very kind of tenacious but gentle way kind of took me through that, really grounding myself. and you took me through some guided meditations. And one that I particularly remember was the one where you were taking me to what would it be like if I made a decision about my health and I made a decision about my job. And I remember at the end of it, you asked me a really significant question, what could I see? And I could see my family relieved. And that visualization and that breath work through that I guess that form of meditation that you guided me through was incredibly significant. I'm someone who thinks I breathe well and breathe deeply, but I know I don't. And so, really, you telling me to ground myself, you telling me to really listen to my breath, some of the meditations that you sent me through that you'd recorded were incredibly useful, and I'm still still listening to them every night. So the unclutching one is magic. So for people who are listening, Sarah's created a meditation called Unclutching, and it's about letting go. And it is just a lovely meditation, but also it's really powerful. It's worked really well for me. I don't know how it's working, but it's working. It's just, yeah.
I know you've commented on that one a lot with me over the time, that's been, one of the most powerful things for you. And as you say, it's that unclutching, letting go, and actually, because we clutch to our stories all the time, which, again, leads me on to, you mentioned the stories you were telling yourself. What were some of the stories that you uncovered, and how did shifting those really impact your life?
So, I was putting lots of reasons for not changing my life in front of me, and you really helped me kind of examine that. So it was like, I can't leave my job because I don't have another job. I can't because I have a really good pension. I can't, what else will I do? So those were some of the stories that I was telling myself. And then I think I really, I'm sure that I will get better, kind of, but I don't know how. I was trying to, almost pretend that actually the job wasn't related to my health. So I was trying to fool myself, because I was scared, actually, of, if I don't do this job, what will happen to me? What will be in front of me? What about my pension? What about, earning a salary? And I think you really helped me let go of that. And one of the really good exercises, I was telling one of my friends yesterday about it, was the what ifs. So you were, again, listening to those stories I was telling myself, and I was saying to you, but what if I give up work and I'm ill again? And you said, well, what if you're very well and you live to 100? So, it was those were really quite significant to me. What if I don't get any? What if I don't get any work? And you said, what if you get loads of work? And so you told me to write down those, 2 columns of what ifs, and they have been really great. So kind of, I really use them. And I knew about reframing as a coach previously, and I'd say that I'm pretty good at reframing. But what you did was you just interrupted a pattern I was playing for myself that I couldn't have interrupted as by coaching myself, and one in particular on how I felt about things and fear. So those stories were around clutching onto something because I was fearful of what might be in front of me.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing that, because that's quite personal, and and that really just helps. And somebody's actually commented that this really resonates right now as well. So thank you for sharing that too, because hopefully this really helps other people, because ultimately we're all human at the end of the day, aren't we? So, so moving forward, what major life decisions have you made now since our coaching sessions began? Obviously, we are planning on continuing with coaching, aren't we? So it's not something that is ending. So, but what major life changes and decisions have you made so far, and how are you feeling about those?
Yeah. So I'm leaving my job. So I'm taking some time off. I'm taking some space. I'm slowing down. So Sarah, the word we've agreed is for this year, slow. And I've asked you if you will coach me for a further block of sessions. So yeah, I think the biggest, most significant decision is the leaving the job. I've decided that that's not I don't want to do this job anymore. I want to live my life differently. I don't know what that looks like yet, and I'm in no hurry. to try and make that happen. Also, I've made a decision to live in the moment more. So to really appreciate what's around me, and that slowing down, to really kind of look around when I go and do something. Doing my job meant that everything I did was on fast forward. Even walking the dog sometimes would be on fast forward. I'd be listening to a call that I was on, or I'd be making a call, or I'd be thinking about what I had to do next. So now it's just go for a walk for a walk's sake, and really notice the things in a walk, and and be more joyful. But like the last year, I feel like with my partner and my son, I was just a misery. I was kind of joyless and always talking about how terrible work was, but doing nothing about it. So I've, the unclutching has let me let go of that. I've made a major decision that actually I don't want to work in a role like this anymore. I've done it. I can leave. And the other decision I've made is not to think too deeply about what happens next.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
I realised
Joy is massive. Yeah, sorry if I interrupted you there, Paula, but yeah, joy is massive, and it's something I'm very passionate about in terms of coaching generally, and especially with with people who are generally going through a cancer journey, is actually focusing on joy, even more so to me than gratitude, because gratitude can sometimes feel a little bit forced, and artificial. But joy, we can all find little joys, even if it is just something really small, like a bud coming out in the spring or whatever, and so yeah, being joyful, I think, it was really a powerful part of that.
Yeah, I think being joyful, but also noticing that you're joyful. So because you can think, oh yeah, that's a lovely buzz, and kind of I'm in the moment or whatever. But just really looking at it and thinking about it, and really taking the time, to look at a tree, or to look at a dog kind of running along, or whatever it is that brings you joy. Look at the sea. It's about taking the time. I feel that I've been really starved of good time to find joy, and so I really want to build that joy from the inside out.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So where have I got to the questions? What role did guided meditations and additional resources like books and podcasts play in your journey? Because I know you said to me, obviously I helped share some other things. We've talked about obviously my guided meditations really, but did you find other resources really useful?
Yeah, so Sarah, you guided me to a live presentation on back in September, which was really useful, of like-minded people talking about mind-body connection. I think all of those things that you guided me to, so meditations particularly for me. So I think one of the big changes that I've made, and I've told you this before, Sarah, but just for people on who are listening in, is that I had an office upstairs in my house, and I took everything out and got rid of everything to do with that office, and I've changed it into a meditation room and got a meditation cushion and a yoga mat. So I've cleared it out, and I've cleared it out most things that were associated with it. So I think small actions like that are really helpful, as well as things like so the meditation piece. I feel like it's always there if you want it. So you've recorded some for me, and then there are other meditations around. You've also told me some really interesting stories about people who have really used that mind-body connection, and it reminds me that this used to be a real thing of mine before I went into corporate life about 10 years ago. That discovery of books, that discovery of people's stories actually, and what they use to find purpose and joy and health. So yeah, they've all been really, really helpful. Could I say what was the most helpful? I don't know. I think just a combination of them.
Yeah.
You had so and you used them really really well and choicefully. So you used them just at the right moment. So I think be open to lots of tools, even ones that you might have used before. People bring different twists on those tools. So I'd say to people listening in, you might have done something around gratitude, or you might have done something around meditation or breath work, but keep trying different ones, because it's a bit like when you're exercising. After a while in exercise, your body gets used to it and it doesn't work. So yeah, so I think those things are all really, really useful.
Brilliant. So you've given loads of advice already, really, but what's one piece of advice you would give to others who might be hesitant about seeking coaching, especially if they feel stuck like you did?
I think so. My advice is, it is the ultimate in self-care, coaching, because what you're doing is you're investing in yourself. You choose your coach really wisely, so you have to trust your coach, and you have to know what your coach will bring to your situation. And I think, how often do we take the time to totally focus on ourselves and taking care of ourselves? We often take care of lots of others in our family and lots of other people at work, or our pets or whatever. So what I would say is, if you feel really stuck, life is way too short to be stuck. Don't waste it being stuck. Reach out. Yeah. Even if it's listening to meditations, if you can't afford coaching, look for ways of that self-care yourself. So life is way too short to be stuck. I was stuck for a while, and it affected my health, and there are ways of finding things that can help you get unstuck.
And coaching doesn't have to be really expensive either, so and there are lots of options out there in various things, but obviously it sometimes depends on what your specific goal is, and ultimately of who you choose that you want to work with. So yeah, what did you learn about yourself during this process that you didn't actually expect?
I think the thing about taking care of myself was all very surface. I think I thought I was taking care of myself, but actually I wasn't really tending to my deepest needs of self-care. So I learned that. I also learned, you reminded me of, we knew each other before the coaching, and you reminded me to connect back to some of the mind-body connection work that I had done previously. So you were a great reminder of that. I'd almost forgotten about it, or kind of put it to one side. And I think it's really, it's really changed. It was, my illness wasn't cancer. It wasn't as significant as cancer, but it was, it was affecting me. And so I think what surprised me was how much it affected me, and how much, how it could have got worse. So I think, what did I learn? I learned to pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's big, isn't it, actually? And I thank you for that, because I think paying attention and really listening, because we can so often be in our heads and not actually listening to what the body is telling us. And we're still going with the head and the head and the head and the head, and we're not really being mindful again about what that body needs, and slowing down, which we've used that, you've expressed about that, your word of the year is slow. Slowing down and really paying attention to that is really significant for health, going with any health conditions, not just with cancer. It's actually significant just for overall well-being. So if you could describe the impact of this coaching experience just in one or two sort of, let's say, words. I was going to say sentences, but should I bring it down to words? Can you actually bring it down to one or two words that the impact of these coaching sessions for you?
One or two words.
Or a sentence.
So one or two words. It's given me space. It's helped me really connect to myself, and it's helped me face up to fears of holding on to things, and fears of health. It's really helped me face up, and face into it, and know that actually you can take steps to start listening to yourself, and to face your fears and move forward. As I said, life is too short to be stuck.
Yeah, Absolutely, it really is. So what are you excited about now?
I'm really excited about, I've described this to you before, Sarah, but it feels like there's a set of curtains here. And over the next kind of few months, they're going to open up and there's going to be this space, which I've not had space in my brain for quite some time. And I'm starting to really enjoy that space. It's coming, it's coming more and more day by day. And I'm really excited about what might come into that space. I'm really excited that it might be something creative, or it might be something different, or it might be a new way of living or a new way of working. I don't really know. I don't really know kind of, what's going to come. But what I do know is that I am resourceful enough to, to move on and to find ways of living a different life. And I'm really excited about what that different life might look like. But I can't tell you
Um,
what it.
no, and I'm really excited to watch that journey with you and share it with you, and to actually hopefully guide you on that journey as well.
You will. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today, because your insights and experience, I know, will absolutely resonate so much with, a few of the people who have managed to get here. And thank you so much for our viewers as well for coming on to watch. I mean, Paula, you just shared your openness, your vulnerability, and the power, the powerful shifts that you've actually made, and that's really truly inspiring. So thank you. I hope that everyone's gained something from hearing how you've navigated your journey, both as a coach, somebody who's willing to invest in herself when it actually mattered the most. Your story is a reminder that personal transformation is absolutely possible for anyone at any stage. With the right support, it really can make all the difference. Before we wrap up, is there any final bit of advice you'd like to share with anybody watching today?
I think so. If you're watching, you've got an interest in this. So I think, take the next first step, whatever that might be, however small that might be. You've got an interest in this. What is the next step you might need to take care of yourself, or to change what you're doing that doesn't work for you. So take that one small step tonight, tomorrow. Think about it. Yeah.
Small steps are actually the most powerful, in my opinion. It's making those very, very small changes that are significant, but actually building on small changes and doing small changes each day gets you to make really large changes in the long run. So, the small steps are really, really powerful. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you've gained, everyone's really gained some really valuable insights. And, if you're feeling inspired, or if Paula's story, resonated with you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Remember, asking for support is a strength, and it's not a weakness at all. And we all deserve to prioritise ourselves in the ways that Paula has shared today. And thank you again, Paula, for your time, your wisdom. It's been an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to carry on your journey with you. And thank you for everyone who's joined in. I'm just sending everyone so much love and support, and we'll see you again soon.
Well, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Amazing coach, and I'm blessed to have you in my life. So thank you for taking me on, and helping
Bye.
us. So thank you, and it's been lovely chatting to you.
Yeah, you too. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.